This came in the post today from the States. I've been waiting for it for about 2 weeks now. It's a piece of equipment I've been after. It's very hard to get hold of these pieces of equipment in the UK. I'll show you what it is in a minute. But what it is, I'll give you a clue. It's all to do with the sweep generator and FM alignment. It's another piece of kit that hopefully will be straightforward to use if it works, and it won't require me involving multiple signal generators to get the response I want. So let's open it up and I'll show you what we've got. It's quite good now that if you buy things from another country, and before you used to get a customs charge when it was delivered, so you used to have to go and pay the customs charge at the local post office, which is a real pain, because if you just want, once you bought it, you just want it to be delivered. And what eBay are doing now is you pay the custom charge as part of the transaction, so it's quite good. You can actually don't have to wait for the item now. So that's fairly well packed. This is the mains lead, obviously. Now it's obviously, because it's come from the States, this is going to be 115 volt supply. So just check to see what type of plug it's got on. It's got that type of plug. I don't know if I've got an adapter for that, but we can soon sort something out. Shouldn't be too difficult. And that's obviously the input to the unit itself. It's obviously got an earth lead on it. My isolation will step down transformer. Oh, it has. It's got a. Never noticed that. So there. That in theory should go into there. That's good. I thought that was a screw hole actually to take the unit apart, but that's good. So that fits in there fine. It's a bit loosely wrapped. It's not the best wrapping in the world because it's been halfway across the planet. So let's have a look. We've got this knife here. It's quite nice and small, which is also useful because rapidly running out of room in the workshop. I think a lot of you probably already know what it is. There we go, Heathkit. Well, it's actually a sweep generator as well, but it's also a post marker generator, and that's what I want it for, to generate markers for the HP 675. And as you can see here, it's got fixed markers for colour TV, but it's also got the 10.7 IF FM marker. That's the one I need. Doesn't look like it's been used hardly at all. If you look at see, these BNCs are absolutely black. They sort of with verdigris. Now they're available in a kit form and also ready built. Now, I'm not sure which one of these this is. It looks in pretty nice nick actually. I mean, the case has gone a bit fusty looking, a bit sort of faded, but let's just whip the cover off and have a look. I don't think these can be set to 240 volts. What the idea is, if this works and it's going to be viable or useful, I will fit either a step down or an auto transformer into it to allow me to use it without having to run it through the step down transformer here. I can just put a normal 13 amp mains plug on it and have a look. Well, there's the inside. It looks like it's possibly been built by the factory. It's nicely wired, all very tidily done. Well, that's a good. That was one thing I was worried about. You never know who's going to build these things, but that looks really nicely built. Shows its age. These old caps. I'll have to replace those electrolytic caps, but we will try it first. We'll power it up and see what it's like. Just having a look at the transformer to see if there's any way there. There's just 2 wires to the primary, so there's no way of stepping that stepping that down to 240 volts, unfortunately. And it's the model IG57, and it looks like to me that that's been built in house. So that's what I'd prefer, to be honest with you, because you know what you're getting then. So let's plug it into the scope and see what we've got. Let's clear a bit of space and get some leads. Now the idea I'm going to use this for, as I say, is basically just for the markers. So when I'm doing a sweep on the generator, I can see exactly where I am all the time, rather than having to sort of use the Rohde & Schwarz to generate a sort of like a beat frequency that's never particularly clear, to be honest with you. So let's have a look, see what we've got. So let's connect it to the. Let's have a look. Should we look at the marker out? Let's plug this into the wall and then just switch it on. And just have a check to make sure that nothing gets too hot. So, and the way you turn the thing on. Put the power switches around the back here. No. Of course, plug it into the wall would be helpful, wouldn't it? So, plug the unit in itself. Should really wind this up in a variac, really, but let's just take a chance. Okay, there's no lights on at the moment. Just check there is a power switch here. Okay. Not much signs of life at the moment. So let's just see if we're getting voltage anywhere. The mains in. Looks like the mains isn't switched anyway. It looks like it comes straight in and straight to the power supply. Could be the put the scope on it, see if we've got anything at all on anything. There's probably a power switch here somewhere, but I can't see it. I'll bias on off. No, it's just. Oh, there we go. It's on. So the light's on at the front. Oh, we've got something on the scope. So let's have a look. Let's see what we need to do. So let's do RF. Mark it out. Sweep range. Obviously, I've got no idea what I'm doing here. Checking, make sure nothing's going to get too hot. And these caps are. I'll definitely have these caps replaced. These are bound to be dry. Okay, so what do we want then? Should we generate a... Let's try 10.7. Okay. Well, that's looking promising. It's producing a reasonable output, a bit distorted, but it's producing an output. Bear in mind also I'm not using a terminator. It probably needs a terminator. Let's have a look at the external marker. I don't think it must be marker in. Demodulated in, so that's where you put your detector probe. Okay, it seems to be. So let's see if we can get it to sweep, shall we? That's the bias on there. That's your horizontal output and your vertical output. So basically they go to your scope, your XY input, and that's your marker out. So that should be 10.7 megs. Which looks like it probably is about 10.7. I could connect it up to the signal generator. That's 41 megs. The switch is all a bit dirty and noisy, but sound IF, quite a distorted waveform actually. I don't know if it's meant to be. Probably isn't actually meant to be a sine wave because it's a marker generator. It's pretty meant to be a sort of ragged, sort of like a triangle wave almost, I would have thought. That's modulation, probably for modulating the RF section of it. I think it's got an RF generator as well. But it seems to work. What I need to do really is I need to get it connected up to the HP and see if we can get any sort of sense out of it. So let's turn the Hewlett Packard on. which it was. Okay, so it's a marker out. That should go to external marker there, I think. Now if I sweep 10.7 megs here, that's my center frequency, the sweep width 1 meg, it should be sweeping now. Should be putting marker out into the marker, external marker. There's our marker. Turn the gain up there. There's your 10.7 megahertz marker. So that looks like that works fine. Now you see the double marker there. That's because I haven't got the retrace blanking on. There we go. That's your 10.7 megs marker. So that looks fine. All I need to do is verify the frequency of the 10.7, which I'll do once I've ascertained that the power supply is good, and let it warm up with the lid on for about an hour, because obviously you want a nice stable. But that looks like that's fine. That looks like that's working, and I can bring it in a bit closer, and you'll see you can just shift it along backs and forwards. But that looks good. So that's great. I've got other settings here. I need to find a manual for this, but I think this is a different modes for the X and Y outputs. But we'll get a manual and check that. And there's a DC supply. I think that basically gives you a DC supply output on the output terminals here, which will be useful for you know, even running a radio or something like that if you wanted just an external supply. Let's try some of the other frequencies. So let's set a 4.5 megahertz marker, then bring that down to 4.5 megas, and you should find that must be a harmonic passing 4.5 megas. Now there's your 4.5 megas marker. So that looks okay as well. And you've got various other ones. I think you can multiple as well. So it's at the 4.5 and the 9. Then you have to increase the sweep width so you cover that range. Then you can see both the markers on the scope at the same time. So that looks great. That's working. Do a recap on it, and then I'll check the output of the power supply, make sure it's all nice and clean, and then we'll try and fit a step down transformer. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll do another video once I've cleaned it all up and cleaned the switches up and basically just given it a service.